Welcome to African Teapot Podcast. My name is Exy.
And my name is Linie. Join us as we journey through Africa's vast variety of culture and heritage.
We explore issues most African families face, both home and abroad. Make sure to like, share, and follow this podcast. Join the conversation on social media and let your voice be heard. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to episode 6 of the African Teapot Podcast. Of course, I am Exy, as the intro said. And you are?
And I'm the co-host, and I'm Linie.
Like the intro said. All right, ladies and gents, happy 4th of July. If you don't know, in America, it's Independence Day. Well, coming up,
right?
The 4th.
The 4th of July.
4th of July is, but yeah, it's Independence Day in America, and it's a lot of barbecuing and fireworks.
And for everyone else, Happy New Month. You have successfully made it through half of the year, 6 months of 2023. Actually. How did you get your goals halfway done? Are you redoing the goals? How close are we? Anyways, I hope you've been doing
Have you
good.
lost that weight, and are you working? That diet, is it working for you? Or you just kind of skipped on it like the rest of us did? Let us know. Let us know. Don't forget to chime in. And guys, don't forget, on this podcast, we have voice messaging that you can actually leave, live recorded messages. It's not only via Instagram that you can leave us a message, or via messaging us on Spotify. You can actually leave a voice message that can actually end up on future episodes, right? If you have something interesting to say, or a shout out to a loved one.
But going in for today's episode, what we talking about, Edna?
Black hair culture.
That sounds good.
I was excited for this, episode 1, because just when we are planning to, we have a little plan of a getaway, and we had a whole conversation about what we should do with our hair.
I know.
Our other sister Lyris already has her hair prepped up for this weekend coming up. You have your hair done. I have my hair halfway done. But then even the boys that will be taking part in this trip, they're also talking about caring for their hair. Right? And so when this thing came, or the episode we thought of, when it came that it was time to record the episode, it was funny because we actually chose to record this episode way back. Yeah. At the start of the year. And then it just happened that it came when all of us were trying to take a trip, and everybody's excited. And talking about hairstyles, both the boys and the girls.
And it's amazing, the diversity. Like, black hair is so diverse. And the 3 sisters, myself, Edna, and Lyris, we're all doing 3 different things.
Yeah,
I mean, even the guys doesn't look the same. Textures, not the same. It's crazy how much diversity there is.
But it's also interesting how much importance we lay on the hair.
But
both men and women.
But you know what else I want to say? It's probably a sidetrack. Disclaimer: this episode is about the beauty, about the wonders, and about the growth of hair. It might be specifically geared towards. We talk about the Africans, right? So. Hey, not funny. It's going to be about black hair.
But you do have white Africans.
This is not an attack on race or color. We're just talking about hair. It's not a comparison. It's not a race. Right. It's just hair.
And when we talk about, that's why we said black hair culture. If you realize, I said black hair culture versus African hair culture. Someone will say, why didn't you say African? Because not all Africans are black, guys, or not all Africans have kinky curls.
But I guess it's a conversation for another day. For some people, as long as you're African, doesn't matter how white you look, you're black.
I know. That's a whole different. I know what you're saying. That's a pregnant topic.
Okay.
But I know what you're saying.
Let's zone in back into our topic.
Because I think we're going to get into a little bit of trouble. If you listen, I pronounce the T, my little, today. We're going to get in a little bit of trouble with this. I can see it. Some people I can feel it, because some people will still not understand.
Maybe one reason, and even though I still think it's
Let me
not
sip
just
on water. I need it.
I think this topic will apply to all kinds of hair. But let's get into it and just talk about it, guys. Join us in the conversation with an open mind and the joy.
And centering your chi.
Yes. Please.
Okay, so what's the general understanding of black hair culture? Like when we say black hair culture, what are we saying? We've already kind of given a little bit, we actually started talking about it. But black hair culture to me encompasses how you care for your hair, what your hair means to you, right? The history you have with your hair, why you do your hair the way you do your hair, and would you change something about your hair if you choose to? When they talk about black hair, when they say hair culture, that's what I would say. When we put black in front of it, then it means we're tailoring it a little bit down to the kinky curls, especially. But again, there are different types of pattern and hair patterns for black people, for black hair. So like it starts from, they'll tell you 3C,
bone
3B. You have black people that have, curly, wavy hair. You have some that have really kinky hair.
Yeah.
Like my hair, but I think I've seen somebody with way kinkier hair than ours.
Like it's just diverse and it's different. People from the same family have different kinds of hair.
And colors.
Yeah,
because you have people with blonde hair. Black people with blonde hair.
So when someone says black hair, the first thing that comes to mind for everyone is the afro.
Ooh.
I think it's the kinky,
give me the disco time.
Black
Lionel
afro.
Richie.
Yeah, so I think that's what comes to mind. And everyone has a relationship with your hair, but maybe this one is diving a little bit personal, and maybe all of you at home can find your answer to this question for yourself. But if I ask you what your hair means to you, what would you say? Like, what does your hair mean to you?
My hair is a lot of what my picture is. Because I feel like when I change my hair, I get a lot of conversation about my hair as I change it.
So, when you say picture, you mean like you feel like your hair is your identity?
Like physically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think if someone says Edna somewhere, or Exy, however you want to call it, guys, But anyways, however somebody calls me, I think when they are painting the picture, I think hair is part of it. I don't think they paint my picture and keep the hair out.
Yeah. So
when anybody paints my picture, if they know me, I think they put the kinky there, like Edna's hair, like my hair is kinky on the picture.
If I was to be like, hey, tell me what you think your hair says about you, how would you be like?
That I'm African. I'm black African, obviously. It tells you that this girl spends like 8 hours detangling this damn hair. It tells you that
language.
Oh my God, yeah, but I said like the damp, like the water damp.
Just keep going.
But detangling my hair, you would tell that I spend a lot of time on it, detangling. One thing you would say about my hair is that, I love changing hairstyles, right? But personally, I don't just change hairstyles because I'm loving it. Part of it is because I have to deal with my hair. My hair is delicate that I have to deal with it that often.
When we say that, I remember seeing this thing on Instagram, which you said you saw too. This person was like, what hair says about a person. It was funny, but somehow true when they were like, braids means they're patient. Like they know what they want because braids takes patience. Like you know what you want, you're stuck with it for like weeks on end. You just know what you want. And they were like, the girl with the short hair says confidence, and she doesn't care what you think about her. She's going to do what she wants to do. What was it with the girls with the wigs and the lace fronts? Do you remember?
I think they said they don't have what
they don't have
time to waste. Yeah, they don't have time to waste.
There's diversity. Yeah. Like when I listened to it, I was like, that makes so much sense. That's why I'm like, your hair is literally your identity. I feel like I've gone through phases with my hair.
And continue to go through phases.
And I feel like every phase I go through, it's almost like that hair like gives you an identity. Like when you look at hair, you see dreads, you see cornrows. Those are common styles when we think of black hair. And the funny thing is, people judge people by their hair. When people see when you see a black person with straight, slick hair, they're like, stylish, put so much time, sleek, sophisticated. They see, and the afro is one of the most, like, there's so much politics around an afro. But I found this quote that I think, not quote, but something someone had said and like written down that I think ties in perfectly with what we're saying. It was this article that was on glamour.com that was written by Ashley Edwards, and it was for an article titled "Who Decided Black Hair is So Offensive Anyways?" And this is what it says. Afros are labeled too political, in quotation marks. Locks are deemed unacceptable. Even our natural curls and kinks are called unruly and unprofessional. After hundreds of years, some people still can't seem to untangle black hair from these harmful stereotypes. But how did we even get to the point where something as innocuous as our hair could be considered good or bad? The history might surprise you or not. How did we get here? How did what I say, what I do, not make a difference, and all that mattered is my hair?
And it has ties to colonization. It has ties to colonialism. It has ties to racism and other forms of racial biases, right? When you said, when people see my hair, what do they think is part of it? I'm sure if they put hairs on mannequins and all the mannequins are green, for instance, and you have red hair, you have green hair and everything, and there is a mannequin, the mannequins are green, but if you come and one has tight, kinky curls, and you tell people, I'm pretty sure when they see it, black comes to mind. Slavery comes to mind.
People want to comb it out.
Yeah, colonization comes to mind, or they need to make it look better, right? So, I don't know if we can get into those personal stories now, but there are a lot of personal stories that people will tell you. Because when I just came to the United States, I remember, let me jump into story time. I came to the United States and I went to work. When I just started working, I went to work and I washed my hair. Didn't have time. My friend used to help me straighten out my hair. So I went to work. I was not putting on weaves at that time or anything. So I just, would straighten out the hair. She would help me straighten it out. I washed the hair, didn't have time to straighten it out. So I put it, I tried to stretch it with a braid overnight. Then I woke up and I tried to tie a little ponytail at the back. And I went to work. And this girl came and asked me, oh gosh, were you in such a, do you need a minute to go to the bathroom? I said, what for? She said, no, fix up your hair. Because I had twisted it. You remember in the two-strand twist?
So it wasn't looking perfectly straight.
The bun, so my pony wasn't sleek, something. Then I said, no, my hair is fine. And she left it alone. And then I realized I received 3 other questions that night because it was night shift, about why I didn't comb my hair. But personally, I felt I styled my hair, and I felt, do you necessarily walk up to people and ask them why they didn't comb their hair? It felt to me, and then the whole thing of people talking about it, they were talking about it. There was this one girl, she was talking about it and trying to touch it. And it's why don't you go comb your hair? And she's trying to touch it, and she has this face it's messy, But that was hair that, guys, I spent 8 hours on that hair.
And that's the thing. People don't get it. And it's the thing, too, when I got here, 11th grade. I guess I'm giving out my information, right? So 11th grade, and I remember 12th grade. I always had a fro or braids. It was the end of 12th grade, and I was it was summer, and I was I'm just going to let my hair be. So Edna at that time was let me straighten your hair. I was sure, because I'd always done afros or whatever. I went to school, and I tell you, everyone in my class, teachers and people were oh my gosh, you have such beautiful hair today. It looks so good. Now thinking about it as an adult, I think I had Edna straighten my hair for the next couple of weeks because there were so many compliments. But now I'm why did I do that?
Yep.
I didn't think about it, but mentally as a kid, psychologically as a kid, my mind was already okay, so the straight hair is better. It's cuter. Everyone think it's neat, it's nice, but then I think that's why the older I became, it made sense why. It's not like I don't like straightening hair the older I got, right? But there was a certain point where once I acknowledged what happened, I was like, oh no,
I'm not going to straighten my hair.
I'm not going to straighten my hair. And it might be a ridiculously defiant thing to do, but one thing I want to tell people is, when someone wakes up and they say, I had a bad hair day and it ruined my day.
Oh, Lord.
Hair can ruin your day. Like, even guys, you get a haircut and it's not right, you put on a hat the whole time.
Or you're broke to get a haircut. Or
I personally think my journey from, let's say when I was in high school, right, to right now, I feel like the hair I did, I feel like there was a point in my life where hair was like making up for stuff that I think you felt like, oh, you're lacking, you're making this up.
And
not that I'm saying, this is not against anyone who straightens hair and stuff. This is my personal journey, right? I personally feel like right now, I don't think I put that many pictures. I have a buzz cut. There's no way to hide anything.
You're blonde.
And I'm blonde. Like, there is no way to hide anything. It's bright, it's blonde, and it's buzz cut. Like, if I chopped off any more, I wouldn't have hair, right?
You'll be baldy.
But I feel like, for some reason, this haircut has made me accept more of me, because there's nothing you can hide. What am I going to hide? I have a bump on my face. What am I going to do?
Nothing.
Like,
you don't have bangs to hide it.
Like, I can't cover it. And when I cut my hair before, you can ask Edna. I don't care if I'm going to Walmart. It's a full face of makeup. But as the time went on,
doesn't matter.
Like it doesn't matter. So I'm not saying this for anyone. I'm just saying whoever.
Oh, let me say this.
Whoever you are, your previous me who thought hair is, and it's okay to be proud of your hair. Hair is you, but if your hair or something you feel like it's making up for something, regardless of if you're wearing cornrows, bantu knots, afros, you're wearing it straight, you're putting on a weave, love it and wear it. Don't wear it because someone's making you or you have to. I feel like we're at a point in the society, and I work in healthcare, which they'll say is strict, right? If I'm allowed to have a buzzed blonde cut, why should your job not let you have what you want? You could be behind a computer desk. Who's seeing you?
Wait, and then I have a second question. And if they see you, then what?
Crazy, like,
if someone sees you, right? If you walk around and you see somebody with blue eyes, green eyes, piercing eyes, would you tell them to quit their job because their eyes are so piercing and it's blue?
My hair's kinky. It's a 4C.
That's a controversy around black hair a lot, especially kinky hair. And it applies to men, where suddenly within the African community, you have a lot of men being a little bit branching out with styles of their hair. But I think there was a time where we kind of branched off from, we're just doing buzz cuts for guys, and suddenly we've gone into this whole sphere or space where we are now guys are doing a lot of braids, a lot of dreads.
Dreads, especially.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of that amongst men.
Yeah. And I just have a side note. Do you think, I don't know, I just feel like I think dreads had one of the most negative, not negative, but there was a lot of judgment towards
and when
dreads.
When we put the poll on social media, actually, and we were talking about people that are called, what names would you receive from your hairstyle? A lot of people reached out saying they were called drugheads, potheads, Rastafarians.
And some people will understand this, our fellow village people, touts, ruffians, like all these things that just kind of
bad boys.
You are a bad boy. And all of them are dreads. And
especially
right now,
for men.
You still can't help it. Some of our aunties, uncles, parents, grandparents
they still can't shake that
still
off.
Think negatively. And I'm not going to lie.
I was
10
one
years
thing,
ago, I was one
I
of
used
them.
to think that way.
Now I'm like, wear whatever
culturally,
you want to wear.
If you look at pre-colonial Africa, men did a lot of hairstyles. Rulers did. But after colonization, we are told that we should have buzz cuts, we should keep it neat and tight to be respected in society. And so we navigated from our culture. And then now when people try to go back to the culture, it looks like now you're breaking the norm. But actually, that wasn't the norm a couple of centuries
then-
ago, or not even centuries, years ago. It wasn't. So it's almost like trying to embrace your cultural roots, or now we call it style, but actually it's cultural roots. When we are trying now to embrace them, it looks like we are going out of the normal trajectory of life, but it's not. And to talk about dreads, I have a fun fact. Shocker, guys. You need to give me a drum roll.
Oh,
Okay.
drum roll. Guys, I don't know
English,
my sounds.
English, Linie, English. Okay. So, shocker, guys. The original dreadlocks. That's what this is called.
Okay.
So, do you know how dreadlocks got their name? Linie and listeners, do you know how dreadlocks got their name?
Dread the locks.
Good one. Good one, smarty. Although dreadlocks are thought to be created through Rastafarianism, the hairstyle was first adopted by the movement of guerrilla warriors in Ethiopia. They vowed not to cut their hair until Haile Selassie, hopefully I'm pronouncing that well, a former emperor of Ethiopia, was released from exile after leading the resistance against the Italian invasion. The warriors' hair became matted and began to lock over time. And because the warriors with locks in their hair were dreaded, the term dreadlocks came to fruition. So this is actually from Ethiopia, from the guerrilla warriors in Ethiopia when they were trying to oust. Obviously, if you're wondering why Italians were there, they were trying to, and why they were resisting Italians, this was during the scramble and colonization of Africa. So this is just to tell you that a lot of these things, but today it's like Rastafarianism, as it says, and people who smoke pot or, do whatever. And I'm just saying, it's hairstyles, especially within Black people, can be dated way before colonization, dated way before pre-colonial Africa. But unfortunately, that history is lost. Or now that it becomes that history versus what the general society is thinking about hair or how someone should look like. I just thought I should share that fun fact. So, because when I saw it, I went, oh! So
that is really interesting. And you know what I have to say about it? I was kind of right. It's dread. Locks. Oh my God.
There you
I
go.
am so shocked.
So they were looking dreaded, and then they started
But
dreadlocks.
so how did that leave into these people being so negatively viewed by society?
Because again, we were told that something is wrong with Black hair. Again, you need to understand, for slavery or colonialism to have made sense, they had to sell this propaganda that something was wrong with people that looked different. So instead of telling you their culture was that, and they didn't cut their hair because they were, fighting for their emperor and whatever, they just have to tell you they're salvages.
Yeah.
Right? They look that way because they're salvages. I mean, when you read that article, there were a lot of quotes and extracts from different, authors that was talking about slavery and colonization and hair history amongst the Black people.
And then when you look at this, and then you want to compare the natural hair in Africa versus the diaspora, right? I think back home we are more accepting, inclusive of our hair.
Yeah.
And
back home, that's Africa, guys.
When I got here, I didn't realize how much was into hair. Back home, hey, my mom just threads my hair. I don't think about it.
Nobody thinks about it.
Here, they start asking, does it mean anything? I'm like, can I just love the style? Can I just wake up in the morning and see them be like, ooh, I love it?
I just thought of
I put on an afro and you're seen as real Black because you have an afro. No, I woke up, my hair looks like that. I just wanted to wear it.
That is another thing. Diversity. Guys, it's in as much as it's culture, it's also a hairstyle. If I choose to buzz cut, I choose to relax my hair, I choose to wear wig, or I choose to leave my kinky curls, I choose to do a wash and go, that's my business. The same with other cultures. They choose to dye their hair red, right? They choose to do French braids on it. They choose to buzz cut. So you have white people doing that stuff with their hair all the time. I don't see when they go to work and they tell them, you know what? The rate at which they would send Caucasian descent or white person out of the office for their haircut, you don't hear such stories as compared to Black people, right? Yeah. Black-skinned people.
Did I?
Or sometimes brown people as well. You don't hear a lot of those stories.
side note. Story happened in nursing school, and I promise, done with personal stories. My friend, if she's listening, you definitely know who you are, or anyone who I went to nursing school with, or I've told the story to. Nursing, strict rules. Don't know why, because in the real world,
people have hair.
If you're again, I guess I've given out my profession. Oh
wow.
Not like I was hiding anything, but so nursing school, and my friend, we come back over the summer, and she's gotten hair, right? She's gotten braids. These braids are not blonde or anything. They're kind of like brown, like deep, really brown. We come to class, and then the teacher pulls her aside, and we're like, why is they pull her aside? But I'm waiting for her, so I'm within ear's length, right? Like standing behind there. And the teacher's like, I just wanted to talk to you and let you know that your hair cannot be allowed in clinicals. You would have to take it off. Guys, braids are like $250, okay? And so my friend, we were shocked, right? Because the thing in our school is, if it's shoulder length, we're in a bun. She came with it in a bun. It's short. It's tied back over her shoulders. So she's like, why? Well, it's not your natural hair color. And so she turns around and she looks at me, right? At this point, I'm inching closer because I'm like, wait a minute, right? Because I'm like, wait. And so the teacher now is looking at two of us, or the professor, let me say respectfully, because at this point she's a professor, right? And the girl was like, what do you mean? Even though I knew, we both know what she meant, we were going to make you ridiculously break it down so you would be unable to keep breaking it down. So my friend was like, what do you mean not my natural hair color? I mean, does the brown grow out of your roots? And I didn't know we both did it in a room full of Caucasian girls who do blonde highlights, dark hair, red hair. My friend and I just turned around and looked at the group of Caucasian girls walking towards the window. Didn't say a word. When we turned back around and looked at her, she said, oh, well, you need to go talk to the dean because that's what I know, and it will be a problem. So my friend was like, so when I go to the dean, what I'm telling her is I cannot wear my hair because the brown does not grow out of my roots. The teacher looked at her at this point. She knows where, unfortunately, she had boxed herself into.
How do people still put their foot in their mouth?
The professor. And while we're saying this, I turn around again as she's talking, and I look at the next Caucasian walk past me, whose roots are black and whose hair is blonde, right? So at this point, the teacher is almost like, oh no, I did, So we left, and she can't take it back. So we went to the dean, waited patiently. This is like the first day of class. The dean is like, why are students I've never met? Because at this point, you shouldn't have a problem. The dean comes out and she's like, I heard you were going to talk to me. Was it the dean or the head of that cycle? I don't know, but the person she directed us to. And she came out and we're like, hey, I wanted to talk to you. And she's like, both of you? And we're like, yeah. And then I'm like, I can leave or what? And she's like, do you want us to leave? And my friend is like, oh, no, it's something she can hear because we're both there. And she told her, she's like, hey, they told me I can't wear this hair because it's not my natural hair color. The first thing the professor did was look at the hair and said, not your natural hair color? And she said, yeah. And she asked who said it. She said the lady, and she's like, she shut her eyes, opening it back up. I think she did that to respectfully respect the teacher and her. And so she asked her, how long does it have to stay? She was like, well, this style is meant to be like a good 5 weeks. It's like $250 worth. And so the teacher was like, at this point, do you have a scarf, something you can wrap around your hair for clinical? She said, yeah. The head of the department, or was dean, don't quite remember, said, how about we do that for the next 6 weeks just for when you have clinicals? And it was done. But let me tell you something.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Please. First, I understand here it's going to sound that the dean was the hero and everything. And fine, she did look for a compromise. But I'm trying to ask, why do I have to compromise my hair if it is looking natural?
And it's not even like because people have brown hair and stuff. But let's be honest, is everyone's hair who is black, who is blonde, who is brunette?
You have no offense or not picking on any group. When people age, they gray out, right? So they put dye on their hair. So you're going to kick them out and say it's not growing from their scalp. Like, guys, I want us to understand how ridiculous this is. This hairstyle is not pink. It's not blue.
Like
It's not yellow.
like the
It is brown.
Like the brown, to see the brown.
You have to squint. I know the brown
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Because
And I know the
we already know the stricture in which we work in nursing school, right?
So you
know
rarely
that.
come with blonde, like, bright brown. It's deep brown,
But
And these things happen because someone will say, well, they won't let people come to work with colored hair. But this is natural colored hair because you can't prove natural colored hair on someone. And for people who are going to come chewing at us, you have black people that grow brown hair from their scalp, okay?
And blonde hair.
And blonde hair
And
as well.
white hair. But
Like, you need to understand, just because around because you just think black people just have just kinky hair growing off of their scalp and it must be black, jet black, doesn't mean that's actually what the reality and the truth out there is. I'm sorry, I'm getting upset.
No, you're
but
good. But you know what I have to say has changed so far from that point?
There's some level of inclusivity.
Yeah, like now, like I said, I go to work with buzz cut, blonde hair. I have other blonde people at work. I have people with dreads. I have people with braids. Straight, like right now it's so different. A lot more things are accepted. People in nursing school have a lot more. So I feel like it's becoming inclusive. Did it take a couple of cases to maybe go to court and stuff? Doesn't matter, but we've made change. Then we come to how much the black hair community has bloomed, and finally they're starting to realize that we need products on the shelf. We are finally on the shelf, y'all. You go to the store and you have a whole aisle that's just
I am telling you, when I got to this country years ago, I couldn't put a mark on it, but years ago, I was young, a teenager, went to the hair beauty store. I was using Pantene. If you're black, I'm sure you're cracking a smile right now and laughing. There is nothing against Pantene, and maybe now they have, I haven't gone there to do any more research of recent, but maybe now they have pandered a little bit to, black cultural needs for our hair, right? Because our hair is textured for tropical weather. Let's be honest. In tropical weather, my hair flourished when I was a kid. I didn't have deep conditioner in Africa. Do the women have deep conditioners and leave-ins in Africa for their hair? No, but their hair flourishes. But over here, with the harsh transition of winter, summer, and spring, autumn, or whatever, our hair is so delicate that it breaks off easily, right? It looks tough, but if you realize it needs a lot of moisture. So you need to be very careful with black hair for both men and women. Now you have black men in America who come from Africa, and now you go to their bathrooms, I see conditioners in there, I see leave-in, but when I was growing back home, I didn't see no man with hair products like half of his. I wasn't used to seeing that.
If it's not just a basic Vaseline or
and
oil,
a comb and an afro comb
goes on the hair,
and a scissors, pair of scissors maybe. But now you have men literally sitting in the salon and having women put all this stuff on their head because it doesn't work with the culture. And then when you go to the hair beauty stores, at the time when I just got here as a teenager, you had to use products for Caucasian hair. And then boom, a lot of inclusivity started coming. And when they figured, well, black people need representation in this stuff, not because they need to be represented, but because it is money. Think about it. Black people pump a lot of money into the beauty industry. If you're looking at hair purchases, hair products, the weaves, the wig, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The hair dye and coloring, think about it.
We do give a lot of money because we dye, we straighten, we braid.
It's wild. The hot combs.
We use wigs. Like, there's literally nothing we don't use. We use curlers, we use wands. Oh my goodness. Did I go through everything?
Guys, like I said, 8 hours of you just detangling
But
that hair.
You know something that I think is also growing? My sister took a cosmetology course, right? At the time she took it, the only thing they were pretty much taught, they were taught how to do cornrows for she said for 15 minutes or 30. They were taught how to sew the sew-ins for another 15 minutes. But when it came to straightening, the little cuts or, all the other
highlighting
stuff. But now when you go to take those cosmetology classes, so many more hours are given towards learning how to sew down wigs,
beautiful,
how to do all of that. And I'm like, wow. Like, that's me. So, guys, if you took cosmetology 50 years ago, I think
you should go back now. Or maybe you've learned on the job.
And like, maybe we need to go back. And then there are a lot more salons and stuff that are just for natural hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is it.
And guys, and here I'm also trying to say something. We're talking about diversity. So there is this war between natural and relaxed hair. And I don't see why it's a big deal. I want to relax my hair this month. I want to go back natural for the next 6 months. I want to dye my hair black or red or blonde, or I want to get a buzz cut like Linie. It doesn't matter. It's hairstyle. And guys, we are meant to experiment, live life. So but on top of it, when you see a lot of black men and women changing hairstyles, I think black culture, we get bored. We want hairstyle. Is it just me?
No, because
we get bored.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I think my hair has changed the shades of blonde
over
the last year.
You're just bored of wearing the same thing. I think
we're known for diversity. Isn't that why the usual meme goes around dating a black woman is like you date 12 different people in a year because we change the hairstyles every month?
And please quit touching people's hair.
Goodness.
We are not pets. Quit doing that.
I don't know. So I would
and quit asking us how we got our hair to look like that. We got our hair to look like that because we were born with it. Yeah. Stop asking those questions.
It's a very low percentage of people who don't care that you touch their hair. Most of them do care. Or even if they ignore it, sometimes I'm just exhausted to go through the whole conversation. And I'm just like, you know what? Whatever, so I can move on.
So all those stories of children being kicked out of school because they came with their froze and stuff, we are seeing a turnaround around it. Right, but we are saying if you go to Africa, you really won't see stuff like that. But here,
sometimes I just think your basic hair need
of course, we don't need you coming in with your hair being stinky and smelly, obviously.
Or like come in and because most schools say do cornrows, and that's just because cornrows could be neater or easier for a kid to manage. Or keep your hair shorter than tall. Again, it's easier to manage. It makes everyone look.
But not because it's untidy or you are unruly or uncouth or anything,
but
or
you're
a drughead or anything.
When you go to a classroom where braids are allowed, you see cornrows, you see
different styles,
just different styles. Like you see a diversity. You see the bantu knots, you see the threading. Like there's just so much.
And did you know? Just to cut you, but say this: did you know that New York joined California as the second state in the U.S. to ban racial discrimination on the basis of natural hair textures? Now there are petitions to bring this law to the UK.
Yay.
So I think that's quite a stride. And the Crown Act, which means create a respectful and open workplace for natural hair, says that European beauty standards have allowed a history of some workplace dress codes banning natural hair. Can you believe that?
Like, you go out of your way to write that? Like, guys...
You guys need to understand. So maybe here in the US, we're a little bit more vocal. Like in Northern America, I would say. So we are putting strides. But in Europe, I've had friends over there, they do say things. Like, they do say things that happen there, and I'm like, that wouldn't pass in the US or Canada. Like, that wouldn't. But they say it over there. But this is not to pick what area is racist or what area is not. We are not accusing. We are just saying, in the first place, why should hair be an issue that has to be like, well, this person has to leave school because they look like this, right? Like in general, if you say all students should have natural hair colors, they tie their hair away from their face or whatever, that should apply to all cultures, right? But when you single out a specific culture, then everybody starts having the conversation of race and slavery and colonialism, which people want to go past it. But when you keep doing these things, you keep rehashing and rebirthing the same conversation. But I don't want us to talk too long.
I know, but thank you for sticking out with us. I feel like this was such a personal episode. Probably shared more than I thought I would share. But I appreciate you guys for sticking out with us, for listening to us. All hair is beautiful. All hair is amazing.
Your hair is you.
And I think hair is your identity. Keep loving
part of it.
Enjoy it, be diverse with it, just, be
and
hair.
Tell us those stories. And if you want to send us pictures of some hairstyles you're rocking or some great guys that you know that were rocking a bomb hairstyle and you thought it's cool, or maybe you thought it wouldn't be so cool back in the day, but it's cool now. I can think of others. People who had signature haircuts. Bob Marley is one of them that has, like, everybody knows. Nelson Mandela had pretty, Even Martin Luther King had Shaka Zulu. There are many people that had specific styles that even when they show you their hairstyle, not show you their face, you know whose hair that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even Einstein, who is Caucasian, when you see his hair, you know who it is.
Yeah.
So we're just saying it is part of identity, it is part of culture, it's part of expression, and we're here for it. Love to everybody, all cultures, all hair textures. Don't pick on one side to say anything. We're not here to hurt anyone, but we were trying to represent both sides of the argument or of the aisle, right?
Yeah. Enjoy your holiday weekend. Enjoy your new month. Carry on positivity. Share some love.
And we'll see you after our little break, vacation break. I'm excited. Can't wait. Bye. Thanks for listening, and make sure to join us for our next episode.
Follow African Teapot on both Instagram and Facebook for daily inspiration and motivation.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, African Teapot Podcast.